Bienvenidos. Welcome to Standard Deviant School, Spanish. I'm Tessa Monroe.
And I'm Kenyatta Rogers. Today our program is talking about the weather.
So let's get started. Here's the forecast for what's coming up. First off, we'll take a quick look at some weather vocabulary. Then we'll show you how to express the weather with the verb hacer. After that, we'll check out how you can also use the verb estar to describe the weather. Finally, we'll show you how to ask others about the weather.
The Spanish word for weather is tiempo, and the word for climate is clima. You can tell that tiempo is a masculine word because it ends in O. Clima ends in A, so it's feminine, right? Wrong! Clima is an exception, a freak, a quasimodo of a word. Clima is masculine, even though it ends in A.
Tormenta means storm. Hielo means ice. Granizo is hail. Mucho means much or a lot.
Temperatura is temperature. No sé means I don't know.
And malo means bad.
That's it for the vocabulary. Let's move on to how to express the weather. When we talk about the weather in English, we say it's sunny or it's cold. We use it, a genderless singular pronoun, and is, which is the third person singular form of the English verb to be. In Spanish, sometimes you use the to be verb estar to talk about the weather. We'll teach you how and when to use it in a minute. But with some weather conditions, Spanish speakers use the verb hace, which is the third person singular form of the verb hacer, which means to make or to do.
You want to say it's cold, it's hot, it's sunny, or it's windy, use the word hace plus the weather condition. We'll explain.
To say it's cold, say hace frío. Here we go again with a funny translation thing. It literally means it makes cold. But don't get hung up on that. Just learn it. To say it's hot, say hace calor. It's sunny is hace sol. And it's windy is hace viento.
Hace implies it, or some third-person, non-specific entity, so you don't need a pronoun. In fact, there really isn't a pronoun that means it in Spanish. It is implied by the non-specific third-person singular verb. Don't stress about the details. Just remember to use hace with these specific weather conditions. It's hot, hace calor. It's cold, hace frío. It's sunny, hace sol. Or it's windy, hace viento.
To say it's raining, it's cloudy, or it's hailing, you use the verb está, the third-person singular form of estar, plus the weather condition. This construction is easy because it's very similar to English. Like with hace, you don't have to use a pronoun because está implies a non-specific third-person subject. After está, you plug in the weather condition in its gerund form. A gerund is the ing form of a verb. Like when we say it's raining in English, the verb to rain is in its gerund, or ing form. Raining.
The verb to rain is llover. To say it's raining, say está lloviendo. The verb to hail is granizar. To say it's hailing, say está granizando.
The verb to snow is nevar. To say it's snowing, say está nevando. Nevando is the gerund, or ing form of the verb nevar. It's snowing. Está nevando. Remember, just memorize these gerund forms for now so you can express the weather. You'll learn more about gerunds as you study more Spanish.
In Spanish, degrees are called grados. You can express temperature in grados Fahrenheit using the Fahrenheit scale like we do in the United States, or you can express temperature in grados centigrados, which are degrees Celsius. Remember, most of the world uses the Celsius scale. We just like to be different here in America.
When describing the temperature, you again use the verb hacer plus the temperature. For example, to say it's 60 degrees Fahrenheit, say hace, the third-person singular form of hacer, followed by the temperature. In this case, it's 60 grados Fahrenheit. Put them together and you've got hace 60 grados Fahrenheit.
Ricky! Hace 20 grados Fahrenheit.
Mama!
Hace frío. Ah. Bueno, Puppy, bueno.
Poopy?
Now let's practice making some sentences with words that relate to the weather. We'll say each sentence 2 times to help you learn it.
La tormenta es muy mala. Está lloviendo mucho. La tormenta es muy mala. Está lloviendo mucho.
Está nevando. Hay hielo en las calles. Está nevando. Hay hielo en las calles.
Hace calor. Hace 102 grados Fahrenheit. Hace calor. Hace 102 grados Fahrenheit.
Whew, I am hot. In this fake beach set. In a studio. With the lights.
Now that you know how to talk about the weather, you need to know how to ask about the weather. To ask, what's the weather like, you say, ¿Qué tiempo hace? Let's take a look at how this question is constructed.
¿Qué is a question word that means what or how. You've already seen the word tiempo, which means weather, and hace, which literally means makes or does. Literally, ¿Qué tiempo hace? Translates as, what does the weather do or what does the weather make? It sounds funny, but like we said earlier, don't get caught up in the literal translation. Just remember that it is used to ask, what is the weather like? Here's an example of it in action.
¿Qué tiempo hace? No sé. You really should get out more.
Similarly, if you want to ask someone what the temperature is, you say, ¿Qué temperatura hace?
¿Qué temperatura hace?
Hace 20 grados Fahrenheit, mamá.
Oh, bueno, Puppy, bueno.
Poopy?
If you feel comfortable with ¿Qué tiempo hace? And ¿Qué temperatura hace? You're ready to see how these two phrases and the rest of the weather chit-chat that we learned can be used in day-to-day life.
Knowing how to talk about the weather comes in handy when there's nothing else to talk about. Here's an example.
Come along, kids, grab a fork and a spoon, 'cause it's noon. Lunch lady's here with something to prove.
Hola. Hola.
You know that awkward silence that sometimes happens when you first meet somebody and you just don't know what to say? Well, don't worry anymore, because now you could just talk about the weather. Go ahead, ask him about the weather.
¿Qué tiempo hace? Hace sol.
Don't forget the temperature.
¿Qué temperatura hace? Hace 75 grados Fahrenheit.
See, boys, that's so easy. Eat your lunches.
We spent a lot of time talking about how the weather makes for great small talk. But as you probably guessed, it's also handy for, go figure, actually finding out what the weather's like.
Let's review. In Spanish, they use the verbs hace and está to talk about the weather. Hace, the third-person singular form of the verb hacer, which means to make or to do, is used with the weather conditions hot, sunny, cold, and windy. Hace calor means it's hot. Hace sol means it's sunny. Hace frío means it's cold. And hace viento means it's windy. The verb estar is used when you want to say it's raining, it's snowing, or it's hailing. For these weather conditions, follow the verb está with the gerund form of the verb for the weather condition. So to say it's raining, in Spanish, say está lloviendo. To say it's snowing, say está nevando. And if it's hailing, say está granizando. To ask what the weather's like, you say ¿Qué tiempo hace? Similarly, if you want to ask somebody what the temperature is, you say ¿Qué temperatura hace?